going on, y'all? It's the Abroad DJ podcast with your boy DJ DCaso. Today, I got the one and only California's very own fashion and music aficionada, first female to grace the cover of the OC Weekly newspaper, international maestra, trilingual breakdancer, model, and tour DJ for West Coast legends Sugar Free and Reverie, DJ LaLa. What's going on, Queen?
What's up? How are you? Everything good?
I'm cool, man. I'm black. I'm free. How you?
Oh my gosh, yes. Amen to that, right?
You already know I have to mention it, especially with everything going on right now. So I'm cooler.
That's good. Yeah, everything's good with me. I've been like staying in the pool, so
Okay.
staying fresh always.
How's your mental and physical health going right now? Like, how you keeping yourself sane through everything going on right now?
Right now I've just been honestly taking a lot of care of my body, eating the right foods, trying to like educate myself a little more on like what I should eat, how much exercise. So it's been going good. I've been really keeping up with it now that I have a little more time to do those things.
That's a
And
fact.
yeah, and it's been great. I've been feeling really good. So that's really important right now, especially too.
Especially everything going on. So that's true.
Mhm.
All right. So people that don't know, my girl Lala is a G. She's been in the game for a very long time. Not a very long time, but she's worked considerably with some very big name artists. Who are some of those artists that you've worked with over your career?
Uh, I've worked with a lot of different artists. I worked with I've DJed for Sugar Free,
Okay.
Reverie. There's been like Bell the Wonder, Tumex, Snoop Dogg, the Dog Pounding, and like who else? Like different members from Wu-Tang Clan.
Okay.
I've opened up for the Beat Nuts. I've just so there like I think I did yeah I DJed for Too Short.
Okay.
A lot of different like artists that are like really dope.
Got you. So you've worked with a lot of OGs in the game at this point. Let's talk
Yeah.
about your start to your DJ career. How did you start out?
Well, I started off because, well, first of all, I was a dancer, right?
Yep.
Not in the strip club, just like a regular like dancer.
Okay.
And so my mom, she got really sick. She had cancer, and she ended up passing away. But I don't know why I had this idea of DJing. I've never really wanted to DJ ever. I never really thought it would be a thing even. But I remember I had to get like a self-help book,
Okay.
and I was gonna. I mean, I was looking for the right book. I was going through a lot of depression. I had lost my mom and everything. So my cousin took me out to buy a book. And I ended up picking up like a DJ, like a how to be a DJ book or something
Okay.
like that. I'm not really sure why. It just like I saw it and I was like, oh cool, like hip hop. And then so I picked it up and then it just kind of started from there. Like I read it a little bit and then I decided to buy a turntable.
Okay.
So once the turntable came, my little brother had like a mixer, like a really cheap, like I don't even know what brand it was, type of mixer. So I ended up figuring out how to connect it all together and everything. And so I was literally using like one turntable on the left, and then I had the mixer, and then the right I would connect it to like a iPod.
Okay.
So then I started beat matching to the beat of the iPod because I couldn't manipulate that side, you
Of
know.
course.
So that's how I started practicing how to like beat match beats together, or to blend them. And once I had a little more money, then I bought the second the second turntable.
Turntable.
But that's how I started, and it was cool. It was like it was really cool because it was like it really got me out of the depression mode that I was in. Like I was stuck for like 9 months, I think, eight to 9 months. And I just, I didn't really want to go out anywhere. I was really like in this like hole, in my
Yeah.
room. And but little, like, it was so weird. Like, it was like I didn't obviously want to be awake. I just wanted to sleep all day and just not be alive, kind of thing.
That depression is
But
real. It's real.
yeah, it was really
Real.
deep. But I think like teaching myself how to connect things, how to DJ, how to do this and that. It started adding more hours to my day. Like, I was sleeping less and less because I was like
You got
focusing
a
on it.
passion. You got something to focus on.
Right. It was
Yeah.
like, and then after like 8 months of that, it became later towards the end of those 8 months. It was like I was just in my room all the time for hours and hours, like, just
Okay.
having fun. And that's how I started DJing. Like, that's how it really,
Yo,
yeah,
that's
it was
dope as
crazy.
hell.
I learned really fast.
That's dope as hell because I definitely had the opposite thing because I was already in the game. Mom passed away. I
Hmm.
went to super depression, and then there was a couple of friends that made it a lot easier for me to keep doing it. Like they were just on my back, like, dude, you put up all this time into this thing, don't quit now. Um, so that was my big thing with it. Um, so thinking about that, is your family musical? Did your family have like musical influences or anything like that?
Yeah. So basically, I grew up in a home where like my dad and my mom were in like a church choir.
Okay.
My dad was like the lead, and so he would play the guitar and write music and compose and stuff. And my mom, she was a singer, and she would do like
Hey,
percussionists, yeah, like different like instruments. And then my older brother, he's in a band too. He's like, right now he's in a rockabilly band, but he's always been like in music, like since I
okay,
can remember. So I think we all were in music.
got you.
And it was cool. Like, I started off, like, I remember singing, next to my mom, or like, or whatever, seeing my brother on the drums, like in church or whatever. And then eventually, obviously, we kind of like grew out of it or whatever. And my brother started doing his own thing and stuff. But I think um growing up in that environment just was like normal to me. I thought like every kid and their parents did music, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that was like a normal thing. Until I started growing up, I'm like, oh wow, your parents, they don't have practice days? Like, they don't practice on Wednesdays and Mondays? Like, oh, like I started figuring out like, oh shit, okay, this is my family. Like, this is
In
just
fact,
what we do. And my garage was just always like all these instruments, like wires and big mixers and just bass, guitars, drums, like
so
everything,
this was like a natural path for you then, in essence, because like
Yeah.
your family was going through whatever they were going through. Your mom finally passed, rest her soul, and then you got into DJing, which is a little bit different, but it's still on that musical path. So that's kind of dope too.
Yeah, it was really cool. I kind of felt like God was like, he just kind of like left me with this little thing, like with something, you know.
I
I
feel
don't know.
you.
It was
I feel
cool.
you.
It was a
How
cool transition.
how'd you get to your first DJ gig? Because I know for a lot of people it's hard going from the bedroom to the club or from your bedroom to outside, whatever. So how'd you
Yeah.
get your first DJ gig?
Well, a lot of the times what I would do is like I would invite my friends over to my house.
Okay.
And it was like a normal thing to do that because my parents always had like people over when they would have like practices of their own in the garage
Yep.
or whatever. So for me, it was like it was normal to bring boys or girls to the house to like do work something with music. So that's how I started off first. And then one day my sister-in-law, she was like, oh, I'm having a graduation party. And I was just like, oh, you know what, can I DJ at your party? I don't know if I asked her or she asked me.
Yeah.
So it was cool. And that was like I still have a picture, it's so cool, but it was like my first time DJing in front of like not just my friends, but like people, you know.
Facts.
And I think it went really good. Like everybody was like, obviously, it wasn't like how I DJ now, you know, but it was pretty cool. Everyone had fun, you know. And after that, I was like, oh, cool, it went great. And then I DJed another Halloween party. And then from there, like, I started really DJing a lot of clubs really like fast because I had a lot of friends that were promoters.
Okay.
Because what happened was like a lot of the clubs, they would get dancers there. Like they would pay dancers to come and make the club live, like
Yeah.
on and popping, and then that would attract a lot more people. It was working out here in Orange County, you know. So a lot of my friends were already like dancing and promoting clubs, you know. So when they found out I was DJing, they're like, "Oh, you should come open up for this club and this club." And I was like, "Sure." So I started DJing a lot of clubs at that time, and then finally I got like this underground hip hop gig in like Santa Ana somewhere, and then that opened up doors to like Sugar Free and everything else in like the West Coast hip hop realm, you know.
Facts.
Yeah,
Facts.
it was really dope, really
So
cool.
it was just that it just happened that Sugar Free was in the right club at the right time, or was it one of those
No,
things
so
where you sent a
basically,
mixtape?
oh my gosh, so how it happened with Sugar Free is that I was DJing at this bar, this like underground spot, and they had said, "Oh, DJ Quick is looking for a female DJ, and his people are gonna come today," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I was like DJing barely, you know, so I didn't really think much of it at all. I was just, and like, you know what? Now that I think about it, they probably told me because obviously I was a female, but I didn't really think about it at all like that because again, I was like barely starting out, so I was like, oh, I'm not even in that realm, you know.
Facts.
And but it was cool. They got there. It was DJ Quick's cousin. He was there, and I did my set. I did a lot of like funk during that time. I did like a funk set, and he was just like, "Oh, we're looking for a female DJ, this and that." So I gave him my phone number and all my contact information, and I didn't hear back from them until like maybe like a month later, you know. And his manager called me and said, "Hey, are you available for spring break?" It was spring break weekend at Lake Havasu. I don't know where it is, Arizona maybe, or
Okay.
and I said, yeah, I'm available. So I took the gig, and it was really cool. It was really packed. It was like all kinds of partying. It was like my first time, like, I had gotten my own hotel room. It was like,
Okay.
oh shit, I'm here, you know, like I made it, you know.
Facts.
So it was dope, and it was cool. I got to bring one of my best friends. So she was like, "Oh my God, girl, look, like we got our own hotel." I was like, "Hell yeah." Like, "You about to DJ for fucking Sugar Free?" Yeah, I am. I was really nervous. I was very nervous. I was very, very nervous because I wanted to do a good job. I
Of
wanted to be
course.
like on point. And it was cool. It was so packed, and there was so many people, and it was like it got to a point where I had to DJ an opening set because Sugar Free was trying to come in through the crowd, and it was just lots of chaos. Like
Okay.
it was like he wasn't. I don't know what happened, but he got stuck with a bunch of people trying to talk to him, and security people trying to like make way,
Yeah.
you know. So it was cool though because like during that time Nate Dogg had passed away, and it was like I was already on, like I was already connected to the DJ setup and everything, and there was only one DJ setup. So
Okay.
like it was like I had to play something fast because it was like no
Yeah.
music.
No time. Yeah.
Right. So I ended up doing like a Nate Dogg tribute, and I thought it was so cool because he had just passed away and the people were like just loving Nate Dogg, and it was so dope because people ended up I don't know how, but people ended up screaming my name.
Hey,
And
let's
that was a
go.
cool moment too. I was like, what? How do they know? Like, because nobody knew who I was, obviously, you know.
Yeah,
It was cool, and I think my favorite part was Sugar Free seeing all that, you know.
got you.
I, I felt like it kind of showed what I can do, you know, and like how I can influence like an opening set, you
You
know.
made a name for yourself that night, so everybody was like,
Yeah,
"Yo, we know who DJ
it was
LaLa is."
cool.
That's
Hell
dope.
yeah. And he was
That's
hella
dope.
fucking with me. He was like, "You the fucking shit, la." Like, you know, and I was like, hell yeah, dude. He just told me I'm the fucking shit. Like, that
Yeah.
shit's sad.
So did you have to quit your job to go on that tour, or were you already like done working your regular job, regular 9 to 5?
You know what? I was actually working both jobs during that time. Yeah, I was a teacher during the daytime. I was working with kindergarten students,
Okay.
and it was really hard to manage both jobs. I just felt like, I mean, there's some people that can quit and they just jump in, but I don't know, like I feel like there's always a transition period where you kind of want to be sure that you're going to be able to sustain yourself as a DJ too, you
Of
know?
course.
So I kind of felt like I had to keep two jobs just for now. And I'm glad that I did it that way, you know? I mean, it's cool when people like aren't scared to make that jump, but I'm a Leo, like I have to think everything, like I have to organize everything, you know? So it's just like, so I had to do both jobs for a while and that I lost a lot of sleep, let me tell you. Like it was very hard
It's all
because
part of the
kids during
hustle.
the daytime drain you. You're like problem solving all day, you know. So it's like then you're at night doing all the pressure of like you gotta DJ right, you know, and it's
Yeah.
just like it was hard. But eventually, like once I started really like DJing with Reverie and kind of more like traveling like around the world, like Europe or South America or something, then I started really thinking like, okay, you know what? I think it's time now, like for me to like leave my teaching job, you know.
Okay.
So because it wasn't even fair for the kids either, because kids need a lot of stability, you know, and it just wasn't fair that I kept leaving for like because touring it's not just a weekend, you know, it's like
Yeah.
for a couple weeks and stuff and I was like, nah, they really deserve someone stable too, you know?
That's
So
real. That's real.
when I moved, yeah.
So you've been enjoying that. So again, talk about you being a B girl, right? So you dancing, and then your B girling turned into you rocking with Reverie.
It's, you know what, b-boying has really like solidified me as a person too, like just like it's really taught me so much and honestly it's really the reason why I was able to travel out of the US, you know. I think being part of a b-boy crew, I think it really came because of the person that I was or am, you know. It takes a while to be in a b-boy crew and I feel like my crew really got to see me put in a lot of work in the community, in the hip hop community. And so for them, I feel like it made it more like it just was more right that I was gonna be part of this crew, you know.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot. I learned a lot from them, and that was how I got out of the U.S. You know, we have a lot of members that are like worldwide,
Okay.
and a lot of the members that come here will host them, and then when we go out of the U.S., they host us.
That's dope.
So I said, you know what? Some of the homies that came from Italy, and they were cool. You know, it was like my first time seeing like how this whole thing works, you know, like them coming here and us helping them out, like, hey, they're gonna stay with you for 1 week and then we're gonna stay over here another week and just like and I was like, wow, this is so cool, you know. And then we would just practice, you know, and everybody's like, oh, practice here, practice there. So it was cool. It was keeping my shape good too. So it was like, hell yeah, you know?
That's real. Staying in shape is
Yeah.
key. You know that.
But it was cool. And then eventually I was like, you know what, like it's time for me to, I want to like do more, you know, because I felt like everything was going great here and it was awesome. And, you know, I've DJed for all kinds of people. And then I was just like, I'm ready to venture off, you know, like I wanted to do something in Europe, you
I
know.
hear you.
So I made the decision of like just moving out to Europe for like, I think I was there for 4 months.
Okay.
And I was like, I was still with my second job during this time, but I had told them like, hey, I'm gonna take the summer off. So I
Gotcha.
went to like furlough type of mode, and then and yeah, that's where I went, and they hooked me up. My crew, they hooked me up with my first gig out in Sicily, right by the beach, some party ass like
Hey.
club. It was dope, and then from there came another gig and another gig, and it was beautiful. It was awesome. Like, and I got to b-boy out there too, like for free, because my homies, that's what they do for a living
Okay.
on in the summertime, you know. They go to this spot called Dormina. It's beautiful. It's like very touristic place.
Okay.
And we would dance all day. But it was cool. Yeah, we did like I did a lot of dancing out in Sicily, and it was great. Uh, I It's hard. It's hard to be girl, be boy, whatever. Like it's really hard. My homies, they really get down.
Yeah.
Like I get down, but I always tell them like, cause they always want to battle me, of course, and I'm like, man, like leave me alone, you know. And so but it's cool. Like they're just trying to push me, you know, cause
Of
they're
course, they
like
just want
battle
you to
hawk.
be better.
Yeah, you know. I'm like, well, I'll fucking battle you in the fucking DJ, and then they're like, nah. I'm like, okay then, like, you know.
All
That's
right.
pretty.
So talk about going from b-boy and DJ for Reverie and then being approached by Playboy. So,
Okay, so it, you know what? It was so interesting because during that time I was doing a lot of clubs and everything, and there was a few female DJs that were signed to this person, and they were doing great.
yeah.
Those DJ girls they're still to this day doing good, you know. I just felt like that it just wasn't gonna work out for me. I just felt like it was a really long contract. It was, I think, 7 years.
Jesus.
And yeah, and it was like, I mean, it just sounded great on paper, you know, like all the money that I was going to get in on, and just opening up for like people like Tiesto and like all over the world type of like,
Okay.
you know, and during that time, it was like really, like Tiesto was on during that time, you know. I mean, he still is,
Of
you know, but
course.
like, it was like
That was
that.
like the peak.
Yeah, it was like that time where it was like peaking, you know, a few years back. But you know, I just like I couldn't do it. I guess because the way I was raised, it just kind of was like my mom is gonna roll over her grave, like no way, you know. So I decided to turn it down, and I was sad that I turned it down because I was like, man, I could own my own apartment, I could be living large, you know. But I was just like, whatever, like I'm just gonna turn it down and like keep
But you
it
had
moving.
morals. You stuck to your morals. You stuck to the things
Yeah,
that
I
like.
mean, if it was in a different life, I would have for sure taken it, you know. But damn, I had morals, you know.
Nah,
So
that's fact.
I didn't take it. But I'm glad I didn't, you know. And but later on, it was cool because like a few weeks after that, that's when like I got the phone call to DJ for Sugar Free, and then
Yeah.
I became his DJ after that. And, like we did pay dues, we did all kinds of crazy gangster shit. Like there was times where I was like, God, please don't let me die at this gig, you know, like
Hell yeah.
blues and reds, and it's just like, oh no, like
I feel
there
you.
was
I
some
feel you.
crazy situations that I was in, and I was like this little, you know, teacher during the daytime, so it was just like, man, it was crazy, but it was really cool.
That's a fact. So when you're thinking about that too, right? So like Playboy had their expectations, the nightclub owners had their expectations, the promoters had their expectations. How do you deal with that? Like, still trying to be a strong, powerful woman in this like male dominated field, but still trying to like keep your morals high, but still trying to meet expectations at the exact same time. How did you deal with that?
You know what? I think I just like, I think, I don't know. I think it was just in me, like the
Yeah,
drive of like being able to do something on your own. I also, I just wasn't, I guess when I would meet artists, I would just treat them like normal people. Because really, that's really what they are. Like,
agreed.
they're great. I'm not saying they're like, I'm not trying to downplay them, but it's just in my mind, to me, it's like nobody is bigger than God. So if nobody is bigger than God, then it shouldn't, like, that relationship shouldn't be any different
Amen.
than like talking to someone of a different status. You know what I mean? So I feel
That's
like that made me kind of stay true to myself, like just, like not change. Like I remember Sugar Free was like, wait a minute, so you're a teacher during the day? And I get in, like, maybe someone else could have been like, oh, no, no, I'm not. But I
yeah,
was like, yeah, I'm a teacher. I love kids and I do this and that. And I'm telling this gangster like what I do. And he's like, well, that's interesting. And I was like, yeah, like I just never really thought that I needed to change who I was or like to fit some type of thing. Even with like wigs that I wore, sometimes it was really like I was really scared to wear wigs this one time because we were like I had to do this festival and KRS-One was gonna be there. And I was just so nervous. I'm not really sure. Oh yeah, because I was just like, man, the hip hop scene, I don't know if they're gonna accept me with my wigs and like
yeah,
my
yeah.
creative side. But it was really cool. Like no one gave a fuck about what the fuck I was wearing. So I was like, man,
Fact.
why did I oversee think myself like that? Like I should just go. So I don't know. I feel like that's what really keeps me just doing what I do. Like
That's
just
real.
drive.
That's real. So when you talking about that, and you're talking about like the presentation, the branding aspect of it, because it's like for me, it's like if you look at different interviews or different shows that you're on, you have different wigs and things
Yeah.
like that. Are you rock your fashion extremely differently, which is dope. I don't think your counterparts dudes do it the exact same. It's like I feel like with dudes, it's just like all right, take your shirt off. A lot of cats run around the stage, and that's about it. Like you feel me? Like it's not too much craziness that happens. But I
Yeah.
know at least for you, Reverie, Sugar Free, like there was more like glam that went into it.
Yeah.
So thinking about that presentation and branding, how do you feel like that's helped build your career? Because I mean, you have mixtapes, you have a docu series, you do jewelry modeling, like you're everywhere when it comes to branding. Like you're doing it the right way.
Yeah. Um, Wait, so what was your question? What do
It's
I
like your branding. How do you feel like that's helping you grow all
Okay.
these different things that you have going on?
Well, I think for sure, I mean, I would think everyone knows branding is important. I would hope so. I think for me, when I really realized branding was important was when one girl, she came up to me and she's like, yeah, I traveled. We were in Germany and she's like,
Okay.
yeah, I live in France and I traveled in the train all the way over here. And I was so excited to see what color wig you were gonna have on. And I was just like, wow, like this girl, for real? And then that's when I really figured out, like, oh shit, like I'm gonna wear more wigs, you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm gonna do this and that. Because it was like people want to have something to look forward to. Like when they see a show, like you always want to end it and they're like, oh my God, who killed who? And then you gotta wait for the next season or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like I feel like it keeps it really entertaining for the people. And fashion is part of hip hop
It
as
is.
well. So it was like really cool to be able to blend those two things together as a female too, because it's really hard, like, because hip hop has a lot of guys. So I think it really like puts a lot of points for us to be able to do many things inside of the hip hop realm, like with fashion, because a lot of girls can do more things. You know, we got makeup, hair, nails, clothes, jewelry, like
It's just
shades,
yeah,
all kinds of, you
yeah.
know, and guys like they have clothes and, you know, maybe
Jewelry.
some
That's about
hairstyles.
it.
Not, you know, they don't really be putting on makeup and like, you know, all this stuff. Now I feel like it's a little bit, you know, they're like catching up a little more like fashion and shades and the
Yeah.
boots and like the bag or whatever, you know. So I
It-
think it's cool like to brand yourself for sure. And I feel like I just honestly put everything together, like my dancing, my fashion, my makeup, everything. And I started really trying to do more than just music, like modeling and like staying up with training with my crew, you know, and all that. Like always putting it out there so that people can see too, you know,
right.
because I don't know if it's going to inspire you. Mainly, you want to inspire, so it might inspire someone. You know what I mean?
So
So
you just being consistent. You
yeah,
were being consistent with the things that you really loved, and it just helped.
yeah,
So that's what
yeah, it for
inspired you.
sure helped.
That's
Hmm.
what inspired you to do the mixtape series and the documentary.
Yes, that's exactly it. Because you know what? I started realizing that when I went to Europe, people would sing like songs and they wouldn't even speak English, but they somehow like knew the words or somewhat knew the words, you know. I don't know if you remember being a little kid, you were singing along to a song, you're like, might not be the same lyric, the correct lyrics, but you're singing whatever word it means to you in your mind,
That
you know? So I felt like they would do that, and I was like, man, like how come we can't do that for like people that rap in French or in German or whatever? So I created record waves to kind of encourage other people to open up their mind as far as their ear goes, like musically, like not just sticking up for English. There's some cool ass Spanish songs. There's some cool
fact.
ass like artists from London right now, or like, you know, different areas. Like, so that's why I created Record Waves. I really wanted
Right.
to like expand people's like,
Their minds.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
like, and I thought, I think it's going really good, and I'm about to drop the next one
Okay.
really soon. Um, Probably next month, I'm thinking. So that should be exciting. This next one's a little more on like some underground vibe because people have been asking me a lot more like, oh, when are you gonna put me artists from like that are like, you know, really underground? Da, da, da. I was like, all right. So
Sure.
I'm gonna do this one like that.
And
Yeah.
then same thing with the documentary. If y'all don't know yet, please go check out her site. Yo, just a little like snippet that you have out there. I think it's probably like a minute and 30 seconds. It ain't that long, but it's like
Yeah.
that little snippet seems so crazy, and I'm looking forward to see this documentary. I think this one is gonna be the
Yeah.
adventures to La La Land. Like I'm hyped
Mhm.
for it. I'm so hyped for it.
I'm really excited too. Well, we've been really working on this project for years. I think it's like maybe like 5 years or something, or
Okay.
maybe even more. I'm not even sure, but it's like really funny to see myself so young and like just I was so young. I've seen clips and I'm like, oh my God, what the hell was I thinking? Like, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's cool because I see the growth and I've seen like the things that people don't really get to see behind the scenes, you know, and like dealing with artists and dealing with like life as a double life, basically, of teaching and DJing. And
Yeah.
you see my struggles, what I have to deal with as a female, and it's it's hopefully it will inspire other women too, you know, and and I'm excited. I'm excited. I think we're still talking about when we want to put that out because of this whole pandemic, but I think everyone's trying to figure out right now and like what's the right way to go by this, you know. So we'll see. But yeah, definitely check it out. You can find all my info on DJLalaofficial.com. Everything's there. So
Yo, make sure y'all go check that out. I have to ask you, what are some lessons that you learned later in the game that you wish you knew, your younger self knew?
some lessons. Oh my God. Well, I guess I've learned a lot of lessons. I guess some of them would be like how to pack. Like
Okay.
I've gotten down like I'm basically in my group of crew, like when we go touring, I'm the Tetris master.
Okay.
Like so the bagging system, that's me right there. Like I know how to fit bags the way they're supposed to fit
Facts.
to make them fit, and also how to pack. Like for example, I'll give you a tip right now. Like when you're about to go tour or you have to take a flight, you always end up bringing more than what you're so. If you're a female, I guess maybe
Nah,
you
that's
know.
everybody. I do it too.
Right? Okay, cool. So you bring always like end up overpacking, and you get to the person and like, oh, you gotta pay $50 for all of it, like 2 pounds. I'm like, well, I'm not paying $50 for 2 pounds, you know. So the best thing to do is you always want to travel with a big jacket. One, because it gets really cold in the airplane inside because you know
Okay.
like, and then two, you save money from buying a blanket in the airplane. So then now your big jacket becomes your
Your
blanket.
blanket.
And then third, you have to make sure that that big jacket has a lot of pockets inside. So then that way, when that lady tells you, hey, it's too much, then you grab your shoes, whatever is heavy, and you put it inside of the pockets. So now you're carrying that weight with you and they
Okay.
won't be counted in the luggage. So
That's
once you get
dope.
in the plane, you just take out all the items, put it in a separate bag, put it on top of your thing, and you're good to go. You got like 5, 10 extra fucking pounds in there without
Hell
paying.
yeah. So on a business tip, what's something that you wish you knew on the business side that you learned later that you wish you knew earlier?
On the business side, I would say the best thing I learned was to make contracts
Okay.
because the thing is that when you're barely starting off, a person will be like, oh, I'll pay you this. And then you're like, okay. So then you show up, and then all of a sudden, the promoter's going to be like, oh, dang, I don't know what happened to the money, or oh, guess what? Like, we didn't make enough, you know, my bad.
Yeah.
And it's like, my bad? Like, excuse me? Like, no, like, you know, but you don't know that when you're starting off. You're just like, oh, all right. You know, like, at least me, you know, because I
Yeah.
was super new. No one's teaching me nothing. No one taught me how to DJ. No one taught me how to talk to people, how to email them, how to brand myself. Nothing, you know, you figure it all out. So I think my major thing I learned for sure was contracts because then the promoters would just try and like lie, you know? Sometimes, not all promoters, but some promoters, man, or they would like sneak out the back door. And it's like, no, 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 no. Like I've been with my homies in the back of the venue waiting for the promoter to come out of the door
Okay,
so he can
gangster.
pay us. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was like, and I was, oh my God, it's just been crazy. So now, for sure, contracts just save me so much stress. It's like, you want me to DJ? Okay, yeah, here you go. Here's my contract. Sign it back. Boom. I don't got no
Facts.
problems after that, you know? So I'm here to
Facts.
do my job. I can relax, do a great job at it, and know that I'm about to get my money and not deal with no craziness, you know?
So for all the
Yeah.
young DJs, before we start wrapping it up, at what point do you stop doing gigs for free and you start asking for more money?
Uh, when you start DJing for bigger venues, for bigger artists, when you start traveling out of the state or out of the US, that's when you start really charging more because it's a business, you know. Everything is a business. So you have to look at yourself as a business too, you know. You have to
That's a
see
fact.
how much you're worth, you know, like if you've been doing DJ gigs and you're just DJing at the same bar, I mean, I don't know, you know, like, but if you're already like, oh, you DJ for this artist and then you got to do a song with this other artist and you got on the record with this artist and you went around the world with this, like, you're not gonna, I really hope you don't charge the same price. Cause I
Yeah,
mean, come on, like everyone is helping each other out, you know?
that's a
It's
fact.
always an exchange. So
That's
I
a
think
fact.
that's when you should really think about like changing your price. Yeah,
Word.
definitely. And how many years you've been doing it too. And also what can you do? Can you only mix? You know what I mean? You got to look at that too. Like it's like a job, you know. I know how to do computer, I know how to speak 3 languages, and I know how to do like that ups your pay. So
Facts.
can you mix? Yes. Can you scratch? Yes. Can you do tricks? Yes. Can you know what I mean? Like that should already like be a bit more points to your
So what
pay.
you gotta. That's real. That's real. I
Hmm.
know over COVID you've been working on like your digital platform, and I know you have your clothing line coming out soon,
I
right?
do. I'm super excited. It's called Lalita, and it's obviously going to be more towards girls because I have record waves, and I've been doing a whole like brand with that. So that one's a lot more like unisex, you know,
Okay.
guys and girls. But I kind of want to just do a whole like line with just girls. So that's going to come out really soon. Hmm.
That's dope. Yo, I just want to say this is my like roses. I'm very big on giving people their roses while they're still here. I think you are so dope. I think your style is dope. I think your story is dope. And I think it's dope to have like a powerful woman like doing all the things you're doing because like you show everybody that you can be put your fingers in a lot of different things and still make it. Like you're
Yeah.
holding it down on the fashion end, you're holding it down modeling, holding it down DJing, and you not DJing with no regular ass like people. Like people that don't know, Sugar Free is like a OG pimp from the West Coast, and I mean like OG pimp. Think about like Snoop Dogg's uncle pimp kind of situation. She rocking with Wu Tang, so you holding it down on the gangster side, then you holding it down like just on everything else, and for you to be able to do all of that and keep your life normal and still be able to smile and not be stressed out. Like I think that's dope. So I just want to give you your roses with that. Like just know you're dope for real.
Thank you so much. And thank you. And I know I always tell you, but I really appreciate you having me on here because it's so cool what you're doing. And I feel like the platform that you're building is really inspiring for other DJs to be able to like support each other too, because that's really what you're doing. You're giving back, you know, to
That's a
that
fact.
platform. So
I
thank you so
appreciate
much.
that. Appreciate you, Queen. Tell everybody where they could keep up with you and where to find you.
Cool. So you can keep up with me at djlalaofficial.com. Everything on my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everything is DJ Lala Official. So yeah, that's where you'll find me, DJ Lala Official.
Yo, as simple as that, everybody already know what it is. The abroad DJ, DJ DeCaso, DJ LaLa. We out of here.